Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine standing beneath a sky full of stars. Billions, yes, billions of burning suns scattered across endless black. And suddenly, you feel small, fragile, like a speck of dust drifting through infinity. And you wonder, who made all this? Who made me? For thousands of years, humans stared at thunder, at raging seas, at the mystery of birth, at the silence of death, and whispered trembling words. This must be the work of gods. It felt safe, comforting, to imagine someone bigger, someone watching, someone in control, someone who understood the chaos of life. But what if? What if there is no one up there? What if those stars burn without purpose, guided not by gods, but by physics? What if lightning is only electricity, not Zeus's anger? What if creation itself is not design, but evolution? Blind, beautiful, merciless. Richard Dawkins calls this question the God hypothesis. Either the universe was designed by a supernatural being, or it wasn't. And here's the heartbreaking part. Most of us never truly test this hypothesis. We inherit belief the way we inherit language, culture, even skin color. Our gods are often the gods of our parents, of our hometown, the bedtime stories we once believed without question. And Dawkins, oh, Dawkins dares to whisper, what if the belief itself is the illusion? And he does not say this gently. No, he says it with fire. Because he knows this question is dangerous, emotional, sacred for billions. Yet he insists the courage to ask it, to truly face the possibility that there is no divine hand shaping us, might be the most liberating step the human mind can take. This chapter isn't about proving atheism. No. It is about daring to doubt, about standing on the edge of certainty and asking, do we believe in God because he exists or because we can't bear the thought that he doesn't? That, my friend, is where our journey begins. Does God exist, or is it just a human invention? The great question. Does God exist? For thousands of years, humans have carried that question in their hearts, not spoken in science labs, but whispered by the firelight, in caves, in temples, in the hush before sleep. Thunder? Zeus's anger. Birth? A goddess's blessing. Death? Judgment in another realm. Humans are, pattern seekers. We are wired to connect, to make sense of chaos. Even before we could speak, we asked, why? A child hears thunder for the first time and wonders. A tribe sees the river flood and wonders. And when no answer comes, we create one. Religion was born in that silence. A story to fill the unknown. A comfort in the cold. A meaning to replace fear. And Dawkins says it is not just culture. It is biology. Our brains evolved to find meaning, to build stories. Richard Dawkins calls this the God hypothesis. Not poetry, not comfort, but a scientific question. Either there is a conscious supernatural designer, or there isn't. And that question, it is ancient. It is dangerous. Because most of us never truly test it. We inherit our beliefs quietly, like the words we speak first, like the air we breathe. Dawkins whispers, "You must question, you must doubt, because without doubt, belief becomes blind. And blind belief, can be the most dangerous thing of all." I remember asking my grandmother, "Why do we pray?" She smiled softly, almost whispering, "Because it is how we speak to God." At the time, I accepted her words. Later, I questioned them. Later still, I realized the question mattered more than the answer. And that is Dawkins' invitation, not to prove or disprove God, but to stand before the question with courage. Because to doubt is to awaken. This question, it has endured for centuries, not because it is easy to answer, but because it touches the deepest part of us. Who are we? Why are we here? What happens when we die? Religion offers one kind of answer. Science offers another. Dawkins says, do not shy away from the question, because the God hypothesis is not just theology, it is the foundation of truth. And truth, is a light worth chasing. Imagine a child sitting by a firelight, hearing stories of gods and spirits. Those stories become part of the air they breathe, part of their being. Now, imagine another child in another place, growing up with science and curiosity instead of myth. They too will look at the stars and wonder, but their answer will sound different. It will come from curiosity. And Dawkins whispers to both children, it is okay to doubt. It is okay to question. So here we stand, on the edge of eternity, with a question older than history. Do you believe in God because He exists, or because you cannot bear the thought that He doesn't? And that, my friend, is the great question. Remember this. Let's go back, way back, to the first humans sitting by a fire under a moonlit sky. Imagine it, the crackle of flames, shadows dancing on cave walls. They hear thunder rolled in the distance. They see lightning split the heavens, and they tremble. The world was terrifying back then. Every storm, every sickness, every death, it felt like a message, like someone out there was angry or watching. And of course, what do humans do best? We tell stories. A child asks, "Papa, why does the sun rise?" And the father, with no science, no telescope, no physics, says, the Great Spirit pulls it across the sky. Simple, comforting, a story that makes sense. You see, belief was born not from evidence, but from fear, from wonder, from the desperate need to explain the unexplained. The roots of belief, they grow in the soil of ignorance. Richard Dawkins reminds us, our ancestors weren't stupid. No. They were doing the best they could with what they had. Without science, the world was magic. Every rustle in the grass could be a spirit. Every disease could be a curse. Every star a god. And here's the thing. Belief wasn't just explanation, it was survival. Think about it. A tribe united under one God, one ritual, one story, is stronger than a tribe divided. Belief glued people together. It created trust. It gave courage. It gave hope when hope was scarce. But, here's the trap. Those same roots that gave us strength also chained us. Because once a story takes hold, it becomes sacred, untouchable. A child who grows up hearing, "The rain comes from the gods," will believe it as truth, not because it's true, but because it's planted deep. Dawkins says we inherit belief the way we inherit language. Just like you didn't choose English or Hindi or whatever tongue you speak, you didn't choose your God either. If you were born in India, maybe you prayed to Vishnu. If in Saudi Arabia, Allah. If in Rome 2,000 years ago, Jupiter. Same world, different heavens. So tell me, my friend, is that divine truth or geography? This is the root, not God's voice thundering from the sky, but human voices whispering in caves, in temples, in churches, in mosques, passing down fear, comfort, tradition, until belief feels like blood in our veins. And that's why questioning hurts so much, because when we question belief, it feels like we're tearing at our own roots. But Dawkins, he dares. He says, these roots are not holy. They are human. And to see clearly, to grow beyond fear, we must dig them up, examine them, and maybe, just maybe, plant something new. Imagine that. A tree of wonder, not watered by fear, but by truth. The roots of belief are ancient, fragile, emotional. They explain why humanity clung to gods. But Dawkins asks us, what if we no longer need those roots to stand tall? What if we can grow without them? Let's talk about something ancient and yet still alive today. The God of the gaps. It sounds clever, doesn't it? But it's not new. It's as old as fear itself. The idea is simple. Whenever humans face a mystery they cannot explain, they whisper, God must have done it. Thunder? God. Lightning? God. A child born with a strange sickness? Must be the gods. A famine, an earthquake, the sun disappearing during an eclipse. Surely, surely, divine anger. You see the pattern, my friend? Wherever our knowledge ends, that's where people plant God. In the cracks, in the gaps. Richard Dawkins warns us, this God is shrinking. Every time science learns something new, one more gap closes. Once upon a time, people thought disease was a curse. Then, medicine showed us bacteria, viruses, genetics. They thought the earth was held up by gods. Then physics explained gravity. They thought life was designed in a single breath of creation, and then Darwin whispered, evolution. Do you feel it? Every new discovery pushes God further away, from the mountaintops to the clouds, from the clouds to the stars, from the stars to smaller and smaller gaps. And here's the danger. If we build our faith only in the gaps, then every time knowledge grows, faith shrinks. That God becomes fragile, a retreating shadow. Think about it. A child asks, Papa, why does the sun rise? And long ago, the answer was, because Apollo drives his chariot. But now, we smile gently and say, because the earth spins. Apollo is gone, physics remains. And Dawkins, he doesn't whisper here. He's bold. He says the God of the gaps is not just weak, but it is dangerous because it teaches us to stop asking questions, to settle for God did it instead of searching deeper. And isn't that the beauty of being human? To question, to wonder, to chase answers beyond fear? Every time we fill a gap with science, we do not kill wonder. No, we expand it. We trade superstition for truth. We trade fear for understanding. And yet, some still cling to the shrinking gaps, desperate to keep God alive in the cracks of our ignorance. But maybe true reverence for the universe isn't in the gaps at all. Maybe it's in the vast, breathtaking reality we can see, study, and understand. The God of the gaps is fading, but wonder has only just begun. Imagine for a moment holding a watch in your hand. A beautiful watch. Every cog, every spring, every gear working together with perfect harmony. You look at it and, instinctively say, someone designed this. It feels right, doesn't it? To believe that complexity must mean purpose, that perfection must mean a designer, that life itself, in all its beauty, must have been planned. And yet, what if that's the illusion? Richard Dawkins calls this the illusion of design. It is the powerful human tendency to believe that complexity and beauty imply a designer. And it's a belief older than writing, older than civilization itself. This illusion is deeply rooted in our psychology. From birth, we seek meaning. Our brains are pattern seekers. We connect dots. We build stories. Even you, do it without thinking. Shh. It's human nature. Think of a child looking at a shadow on the wall. They don't just see shapes. They see a story, a face, a creature, a meaning. This is how belief begins, not in proof, but in the longing for understanding. And when we see order in nature, we automatically whisper, it must have been designed. In 1802, William Paley offered a famous argument, the watchmaker analogy. He said, if you found a watch on the ground, you'd assume someone designed it. Why? Because it is complex, because it has purpose, because it works. Right? That makes sense, doesn't it? But here's the question Dawkins asks. Is life really like a watch, or does it just look like one? Think about the human eye. So intricate, so perfect for vision, so beautifully constructed. Doesn't it feel like a masterpiece? Or the hummingbird's wings, beating hundreds of times a second, perfectly engineered for hovering. Or the way a dolphin's sonar works. It feels like there must be a designer, right? But Dawkins says no. It is not design. It is evolution. Blind, slow, messy evolution. A process without purpose, without foresight, yet producing results that look like design. In his book, The Blind Watchmaker, Dawkins explains, evolution is not guided by a conscious hand, but by nature itself. Millions of tiny changes, mutations, adaptations, errors that survive or perish. Over billions of years, these changes build life. Not perfectly, but brilliantly. That is humbling, isn't it? The design you see is not the work of a watchmaker. It is the work of time, of trial and error, of survival. The illusion of design isn't just a philosophical idea. It is deeply psychological. Our brains evolved to detect patterns, to find cause and effect, to simplify the chaos of the world. When we see order, we automatically assume there's a designer behind it. This pattern seeking made us survive. It helped us predict danger, avoid predators, and make sense of life. But it also planted the seed of belief, the belief that complexity equals design. And that seed became the roots of religion. Let's look at examples. The bacterial flagellum, for instance, a microscopic tail that spins like a motor, propelling bacteria with precision. It's so complex, early scientists thought it must be designed. But research shows it evolved gradually, step by step. No blueprint, no designer, just evolution. The human genome. At first, we thought it was tidy and purposeful, but it turned out to be messy, full of junk DNA, leftovers of evolution, complexity without conscious design. Isn't that beautiful? Dawkins says we cling to the illusion of design because it is comforting. It gives meaning. It tells us there's purpose. It soothes our fear of randomness. But comfort comes at a cost. It stops curiosity. It stops us from searching deeper. It can make us accept answers without proof. And that is dangerous. The beauty of the illusion's end. What if we let go of the illusion? What if we saw life not as a perfect plan, but as a breathtaking accident? Dawkins believes there is wonder in that truth, a deeper wonder than any God could promise, because it means the universe is not bound by intention. It is boundless in possibility. That is freedom. The illusion of design, it is ancient, it is powerful, it is deeply human. But Dawkins invites us to step beyond it, to see life not as a creation of a divine architect, but as the unfolding of nature itself, a mystery not to be explained away, but to be explored. And that, my friend, is where we stand at the edge of the next great question: morality without God. And the journey continues. Morality. Right, wrong, good, evil. These aren't just ideas. They are the heartbeat of human life. But here's the question Dawkins whispers to us. Do we need God to be moral? That's heavy, isn't it? Because for thousands of years, religion has been the foundation of morality. Commandments, laws, divine judgment, heaven and hell, right and wrong, written in the hand of God. But Dawkins, he dares to challenge this. He says, morality doesn't come from God. Morality comes from us, from nature, from evolution, from empathy. Why we believe morality needs God? Throughout history, humans have connected morality to religion. We were told, do good because God commands it. We obeyed because the cost of disobedience was eternal punishment. It felt safe. It gave clarity. No confusion, no debate. Good was good because God said so. But is that morality or obedience? Dawkins offers a radical idea. Morality is biological. It is written in our genes. It is not a divine command. It is a product of evolution. Think about it. Cooperation, empathy, altruism. These traits helped our ancestors survive. Groups that cared for each other thrived. Groups that ignored each other perished. Morality began not in churches or temples, but in the small acts of survival. Caring for a child, sharing food, protecting the weak. Morality is not unique to humans. Primates show empathy. Elephants mourn their dead. Dolphins protect injured companions. Even ants work together for the greater good. Nature itself has morality built into it, not written in commandments, but in the survival of the species. And here's the surprise. Humans have built on this foundation. We've shaped morality into something more complex, more conscious, more beautiful. Dawkins warns, when morality is tied to God, it can become unquestionable. Do this, don't do that, because God says so. But morality without question is not morality, it's obedience. Obedience is easy. Morality is hard. True morality comes when we ask, why is this good? Why is this wrong? That is the challenge of morality without God, to find our own compass, to build our own answers. Dawkins says we don't need God to guide us. We have reason, we have empathy, we have science. We can build morality on understanding, compassion, and shared human values. Think about it. Laws change, customs evolve. What we call moral today was once unimaginable for our ancestors. Slavery was once accepted. Women were once denied rights. But humanity grew. Morality evolved. Morality without God is not fixed. It is alive. It grows with us. Moral freedom is beautiful. It means we are responsible for our choices. We must think. We must feel. We must care. But it is also dangerous. Without a divine guide, morality can become relative. What's good for one group may be bad for another. What's right for you may not be right for me. That is why Dawkins calls morality without God the hardest path and the most rewarding. Morality without God is not a loss of meaning, it is a gain, a call to awaken, to take responsibility for our actions, to build a better world, not because we are told to, but because we choose to. That is the courage Dawkins invites us to have, to create morality from empathy, from understanding, from the shared experience of being human. And perhaps that is the truest form of divinity we can ever know. Shh. Lean in, my friend. For every hymn sung in joy, for every prayer whispered in hope, there has always been another sound echoing through history. The cries of those who suffered in the name of God. This is the shadow side. The side we don't always want to look at. The side where faith, something meant to heal, has been used to harm. Take the Crusades. Armies of men, wearing white crosses painted on their chests, marched across continents. Their swords gleamed under the sun, but so did the fires they left behind. Villages burned, families torn apart, all while priests blessed them, whispering, "God wills it." Imagine a father kneeling beside his child, both terrified as strangers stormed their home, shouting the name of a God neither of them had ever prayed to. The child asks, "Papa, why?"
And the Father has no answer. Only silence, only fear. Then the Inquisition, a time when doubt was a crime, when thinkers, scientists, dreamers were dragged into dark chambers. Confess, the priests demanded, as flames crackled nearby. Some broke, some resisted, some were silenced forever. All in the name of protecting souls. But who protected theirs? And it didn't end there. Colonial empires carried crosses on their flags. Missionaries spoke of saving souls, but too often their footsteps crushed cultures, languages, ancient wisdoms. Entire peoples were told their gods were lies, their children taken, their traditions erased. All justified as holy duty. And even today, look closer. See women forced into silence because Scripture says their voice is dangerous. See children trembling in fear of hell before they even understand life. See bombs detonated in crowded markets, the killer shouting, "This is for God." Ah, how many graves are filled with bodies buried under the weight of God's name. Richard Dawkins does not deny that religion can comfort. He knows the beauty of stained glass windows, the poetry of the Psalms, the peace that prayer can bring to a grieving heart. He does not mock those moments of tenderness. But he insists we look at the cost. The wars, the hatred, the burned witches, the silenced thinkers, the shamed children, the enslaved tribes. All because someone claimed God is on our side. Can you feel the danger there? When men believe they hold the voice of heaven itself, nothing restrains them. Doubt becomes betrayal. Questioning becomes heresy. And when questioning dies, cruelty thrives. Imagine a young girl discovering she loves differently. She looks at her parents, her community, her faith, and instead of open arms, she finds judgment. Instead of love, exile. Not because she harmed anyone, but because a book, interpreted by someone else, declared her unworthy. This, too, is the shadow. Dawkins is not asking us to hate believers. No. He is asking us to be brave enough to admit that religion, for all its beauty, has also been a tool of control, a weapon of war, a prison of the mind. Like fire, faith can warm, it can light a path. But when misused, it burns, it scars, it consumes. And if we do not face that shadow, we will never step out of it.
Take a deep breath, my friend. We've walked through shadows, through wars, through fear, through the heavy chains of dogma. But now, let's step outside, into the night. Look up. The stars are waiting. Do you see them? Billions of suns scattered across black infinity, each one burning for millions, even billions of years. Some already dead, their light still racing across space to touch your eyes tonight. And here's the miracle. You are made of them. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your breath, all forged in the heart of ancient stars that exploded long before Earth was born. So when you breathe, you're breathing stardust. When your heart beats, it beats with the rhythm of the universe itself. This is not myth. This is not legend. This is science, and it is more beautiful, more profound than any story ever written. Now, close your eyes again. Imagine the first spark of life, a single cell floating in a warm ocean billions of years ago. Fragile, simple, but alive. From that one tiny beginning came everything. The forests, the whales, the hawks, the roses, the laughter of children, even you. Through countless struggles, through failures and extinctions, through blood and chance and survival, life learned to grow, to see, to think, to dream. Evolution is not just science, it's poetry. The story of how blind chance and natural selection painted a world richer and stranger than anything our myths ever dared to imagine. Dawkins says this: religion gives us stories of creation, yes, but reality gives us truth, and truth is so much more breathtaking. Think of it. Do you really need heaven when you already have the Milky Way? Do you really need angels when you already have butterflies? Do you really need divine miracles when you already have birth, the moment a new human takes their first trembling breath? Why cling to illusions when reality is already a miracle? Beauty isn't only in galaxies or fossils. It's here, in the small things, too. The way rain hits the window on a quiet night, the way leaves turn gold in autumn, the way laughter feels when it surprises you, bursting out before you can stop it. Even the ache in your chest when you miss someone you love. That, too, is proof you're alive, proof that your story is still unfolding. Reality isn't always kind. It isn't always easy, but it's real, and that makes it precious. You see, Dawkins believes this: once you let go of illusions, once you dare to step out of the safety of myths, you don't fall into emptiness. No, you rise into wonder. It's like opening your eyes for the first time, like realizing the universe isn't smaller than you thought, it's infinitely bigger. And instead of fear, instead of submission, you feel gratitude, not to a god, not to a master, but to reality itself, to existence, to the fact that against all odds, here you are. So, when you feel small, when you wonder if life has meaning, step outside, look at the stars, touch the grass, listen to the ocean, hold someone's hand. This is the beauty of reality, not promised, not eternal, but real. And perhaps that makes it even more sacred than any holy book. So here we are, the end of our journey. We began with a question as old as fire, as old as fear. Does God exist? And along the way, we walked through the shadows of belief, through the gaps where mystery once lived, through the illusions of design and the fragile threads of morality. We saw the beauty of reality, and we dared to question what billions never will. And now it's just you and the silence. Maybe you still feel the weight of faith pressing on your chest. Maybe you still hear the echoes of childhood prayers in the back of your mind. That's okay. That's human. But remember this: the universe is not less magical without God. It is more. Those stars, They don't need a painter to shine. That river, it doesn't need a spirit to flow. Your heart, it doesn't need permission to love. The courage to question is not the death of wonder. It is the birth of freedom. Shh. Close your eyes. Feel it. You are small, yes. Fragile, yes. But you are real. You are here. And that is enough. So carry this whisper with you. The stars owe you nothing, and yet they shine. And you, too, can shine, without needing the hand of heaven to guide you. The rest, my friend, is yours to write.